Hello, I'm Zeke, and welcome to the Zekely Podcast. Let's talk Pennsylvania. The guest I have today was born and raised in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and has dedicated his life to civil service. He's written legislation to improve public school funding as a PA state representative, saved millions for Pennsylvanians as Auditor General, and recently has been elected as the chair of the Pennsylvania Democratic Party. Thank you so much for being here, Eugene DePasquale.
I'm Zeke, a doctor, a Pennsylvanian, and an unapologetic supporter of democratic values. You might have seen me on social media working my ass off for Democrats and meeting some pretty amazing people along the way, like President Barack Obama and Governor Josh Shapiro. For years, I've knocked thousands of doors all over Pennsylvania and poured my heart and soul into supporting candidates and causes that make a difference, from local school board races to national elections. The personal is political, and I take every election in Pennsylvania personally. Where the mainstream media has failed you, I will give you truth and independence. You'll hear from Democratic leaders, candidates, and change makers who are working to improve the health of the Commonwealth, and it won't be boring as hell. No matter where you are, I'll meet you with hope and a plan to make your community better one day at a time. Welcome to the Zekely Podcast. Let's talk Pennsylvania.
Zeke, an honor. Thank you so much.
I'm so excited to see you. You check off so many boxes for me. You are a Democrat. You're a leader, you're a change maker, and in the words of Josh Shapiro, you get shit done. So I'm just so happy that you're here. We're going to have some fun, learn all about you, play some games. So you ready?
Let's go.
All right. Well, first of all, congratulations on your election as chair of the PA Dems. Well deserved.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. What made you want to step up and take on the role of leading our party in the Commonwealth?
Other than I wasn't good enough to pitch for Phillies for the Phillies in the playoffs, because I always make it very clear that if I was good enough to do that, I probably would have taken that gig before this one. I just sometimes you got to throw the honesty out there.
It probably would have been more relaxing too.
Probably, but maybe not as important because we've got some important Supreme Court justices to retain. Obviously, getting our tremendous governor and lieutenant governor reelected next year as well, and hopefully doing our part to make sure that the Democrats win control of the House of Representatives next year as well.
That's right, absolutely.
So, look, when the governor and I talked about this, and said, "What a Democrat!" First of all, we have to win. And I know that this Supreme Court retention race is critical, and that certainly next year with the governor, the lieutenant governor, the legislature, and Congress. So why did I do it is, the governor and lieutenant governor asked. But beyond that, the reason why I was still willing to do that, because this is not a paid gig. There comes some, spoiler, some aggravation with it. But winning these elections matters for the future of our state. So I've got a son that's 26, a daughter that's 22. Their rights and their freedoms are contingent upon winning these 3 Supreme Court retention races.
100%. And as a father with children as well, not quite that old yet, I am eternally grateful for the sacrifices that you are making for Pennsylvania. I know it's a lot of work, unpaid, but I know you're going to do an amazing job. Amazing. Well, I've met you in person once, but I have spoken to some people about you, and the general consensus is you're a wonderfully intense person. And I think it's a great description of you. I really do. A wonderfully intense person. I'm an anesthesiologist, but I'm also an intensivist. So sometimes I joke I walk around intense all day long. Right. It's a little doctor joke there for you. But we're going to see if we have similar personalities. And I think that we do. Okay?
I can't wait for this.
So here's the first question. Do you have any unread text messages on your phone?
I can say that because I was just driving and I wanted to come in here and start this right away. So there are 3 unread text messages because I was on the road for about an hour.
Okay.
And so that may be a lame excuse, but it normally is 0.
I knew you were going to say that. And the fact that you even knew how many unread were there is probably going to be itching your brain the entire interview. But we're on the same page. I have no...
Oh, yeah. There. That's why I had to put the phone there. So, because it's a little, bit, they're still there.
It's there. I get it. There's that intensity there. And also on my phone, no unread text messages. So we're on the same page there. All right. Now here's another one. Do you have any unlistened to voicemails on your phone?
Absolutely not. Absolutely.
There you go. On the same page. Listen to all of them every time.
It's a moral issue for me. I almost always call someone back, even if it's for them to yell and scream at me. But some of them are just spam and you just delete them. I'm not so bad that I return the spam phone calls.
Understood. But you at least have to get that little red check mark out of the way.
You've got to get rid of it.
It's got to be red. You got to get rid of it.
Oh, absolutely.
We're on the same page.
Yeah, simpatico there.
Okay, there we go. Here's another one. Do you have over one? I'm going to give you some leeway here.
Yeah.
Okay, especially in emails these days. Do you have, you think, over 100 unread emails in your main email account?
Oh, over 100? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, good. Yeah.
No,
I'm going to give you some leeway.
It's about 12.
12. Good. Because sometimes at the end of the day, I have to go through and
Yeah.
there might be 50, but yeah, you got to go through and check all those
Sometimes I
emails.
strategically don't read it because it's a bill I got to pay.
Yeah, of course.
And I'm not going to do it now. So I want it to still have that darkened area. So I'll do it in the morning.
Of course. Or you have to unread something, mark it as unread.
That's
if you
exactly right.
accidentally click on
Or
it.
you got to put it in the right file too. You just can't have things
Exactly.
hanging in the wrong file.
You got to have all the folders on the side.
No, you've got to have all the folders.
There you go.
And sometimes you have to create the appropriate subfolder.
It's all about the subfolders. God, look at this. We're just vibing right now. This is great. All right, here's the last one. Are you competitive when it comes to board games with your kids?
Oh, yeah, I'm not proud of this, but yes. But yeah, I'm not always proud of my behavior in Monopoly.
Yeah, me neither. But
first of all, there's a part of that game that drives me crazy, but I'm not proud of everything I've done in life. And
it's okay. You know, it's the little things.
Right.
I totally understand the intensity. So strong work. Why are you a Democrat? And why do you choose to represent the Democratic Party?
Yeah, I'm a Democrat because I think we're all in this together.
Mm.
That to me is the biggest reason. Full stop. I mean, yeah, there's sidebar of like being, socially progressive, pro-choice, marriage equality, et cetera. But the core theme, which I think unites the broader range of our party, we're all in this together. I think that's the uniting theme.
Yeah, I believe the Democratic Party, and I think you would agree that we have the largest tent.
Yes.
And we have the moral fabric and the values that would take care of everyone.
And unlike the current president, I mean, I can't say all Republicans, but unlike the current president, we don't believe in just fighting for the people that only vote for us.
Right. We fight for everyone.
That's right.
Eugene, back in 2022, while trying to buy peanuts at a football game in Pittsburgh, you ended up protecting a woman from a scuffle, and it was recorded and it went viral on social media. So there were people all around you.
Yeah.
But you chose not to be a bystander. What was it, a reflex or a conscious decision to just jump in and protect someone from harm?
So for those that don't know the story, that it was actually, I think, December 30th of 2021. So it was going into the New Year's Day bowl situation.
Got it.
It was playing Michigan State in the Peach Bowl. They had won the ACC. So they had a really nice season. My son and I, we're coming out of COVID and, and just like, hey, I'd never been to a Pitt Bowl game before. And I'm a Pitt guy. And so the whole trip down there, we're joking about, we got to get Georgia peanuts. And so go have dinner, go to the game, first half, etc. And at halftime, I go, okay, I'm going to go get us some Georgia peanuts. And I start walking to get us the Georgia peanuts. And I see two dudes arguing and they start basically pushing and shoving. And one of them goes to hit the other guy and hits the woman right next to her and she goes down. And it was more instinct than anything else. I tend to be someone that runs towards the fire. I don't mean that literally, but I tend to, if I see someone in trouble, I tend to reach in that. Maybe it's because I had a brother with muscular dystrophy and, there's a protective instinct that comes to that. But I saw the woman go down and didn't really think much about myself and went in and wanted to see if she had a concussion or started asking her questions. And then the pile eventually moves on top of us where they're throwing blows on top of us. And I'm covering her up to make sure she doesn't get hit again. That's what happened. And so I come back to the seat and I didn't have the peanuts. And my son's
get
like,
your peanuts.
My son's like, what the, and I was like, oh, you won't believe what happened. And he's like, oh, you've lost your mind. You're crazy. And so the next day it's now New Year's Eve and we're in Atlanta and we're having lunch and my phone starts blowing up.
Yeah.
And my former chief of staff calls up and I said, hey, Happy New Year. It's because it's New Year's Eve. We're in Atlanta. How you doing?
Yeah.
She goes, did you save some woman last night? I said, well, yeah, but like, how did you know? And she goes, dude, it is literally lighting YouTube on fire. And when my son watches the video, like, he's basically going, oh, you weren't kidding. This really is why I did the peanuts. And so then actually when I got back home, the Pitt football, a lot of stories came out, et cetera, et cetera. And the Pitt football team did send me a basket of Georgia peanuts.
That's was my question was going to be, are you ever going to go back get your peanuts? But they did it for you.
The Pitt football team took care of that. That's right.
That's amazing. Well, an amazing story, not surprising for your personality, and thank goodness a happy ending. You got your
Yeah.
peanuts.
Yeah. No, that's right. Yeah. I mean, and the woman was fine. So she was fine.
That's good. That's good to know. It's hard to ask for money in politics, especially when many people want that money to be invested in and have good returns. How do you approach asking people for money to help fund Democratic campaigns in Pennsylvania?
So right now it's a little bit easier for me because I'm not asking for myself. So the money I raise goes to the party and to our justices and the other candidates and building the infrastructure. So that is just, to be blunt, I have no problem asking here. And if you don't win, you can't govern. So to me, it's part of how you get there.
Yeah, I think it is a necessary thing that we have to do right now, especially when you have billionaires literally funding misinformation campaigns in Pennsylvania. You brought up the Supreme Court race happening in Pennsylvania. In our very own backyard, we have a billionaire, Jeffrey Yaz.
That's
He's worth $70 billion.
And spent $15 million against me in my attorney general race. I know he has spent millions in the state legislature level. And I think he gave the person that will make us want to vomit, Vivek Ramaswamy, I think he gave him $10 million for his Ohio governor's race. I mean, so, and here's another thing, like, look, I'd like to think that we're all trying to do this the right way, but I mean, Trump is so transparently transactional. He was for banning TikTok. Jeffrey Yaz owns TikTok. They met. They came out of the meeting. He wasn't for banning TikTok. You and I weren't in that meeting, but you can just imagine.
Yeah, I know. He owns the majority share of TikTok in America. And for those who don't know, it's crazy. So it is necessary. It's not always fun asking for money, but we have to be able to promote and elect good candidates. And I'm really happy that you're going to put in the work to help out Democrats in Pennsylvania up and down the ballot.
That's 100%. And it's what you have to do.
Well, we're going to play another game called Politics is Blind. Okay. Because, I think people have a misconception that politics isn't entertaining. And I understand, and I actually agree, good politics should be boring most of the time. But every once in a while, really amazing things happen. So I think, Eugene, we're going to give the masses what they want. Okay. Let's make politics entertaining.
By the way, Ronald Reagan and Donald Trump both won the presidency twice. So there's something to it.
I know. I'm ready for boring politics again, trust me.
I know, don't trust me.
But have you heard or seen the show Love is Blind?
I have not.
Okay, so it's the show. I have to say, I don't watch it religiously, but my wife just watches it.
Highlights.
I could see that. It's basically where you have a group of men, a group of women who don't see each other for a number of episodes, and they interview each other in rooms separated by a wall, but they can hear each other.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And the theory is that like you fall in love with someone based on their personality and talking to them, and then they get the reveal. Okay. But we're going to do our own Politics is Blind edition.
Okay.
And I'm actually going to have you close your eyes.
Okay.
And I'm going to make some statements. Okay. And you're just going to tell me if these are some red flags for you. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So close my eyes.
Close your eyes. Okay. Our economy would be better if abortion wasn't legal because you would have more able-bodied people in the workforce.
That is literally insane.
Okay. Is that a red flag for you?
That would be a red flag. Yes.
Are we not compatible, Eugene? Is that what you're trying to say? Okay.
If somebody held that view, I would not be hanging out with them for a cup of coffee.
Interestingly enough, Speaker of the House Mike Johnson said that.
Yeah, that does not shock me.
Doesn't surprise you at all. But yeah, the leader of the Republican Party in D.C. Said that. Okay, well, I'm fine. I'm glad that we don't vibe on that anyway, because I didn't say it. All right, I have a couple more for you. Public school curriculums that include lessons about LGBTQ plus people will groom children.
That would make me, the idea of that actually makes me want to vomit. It's insane. And by the way, the idea that any child should be anything other than loved and encouraged is not something I want to be a part of.
I 100% agree with you. And actually, our very own Doug Mastriano said that, which I'm sure doesn't surprise you at all. For those who don't know, he is a state senator still serving in Pennsylvania. Right. All right, I have two more for you. Making people wear masks during COVID was a form of discrimination.
No, I mean, obviously it wasn't. I mean, and we do need to be honest that the federal government, the CDC, sort of made some conflicting statements on that, but I believe whatever you feel about the mask, I believe it was done with the best of intentions.
It was. And as a physician, I will concur with you. However, our very own state rep, Russ Diamond, made that comment. Yeah. Again,
the Giants.
Yeah, Republican Russ Diamond. Okay, here's the last one. Passing a budget to help people in Pennsylvania is just not a priority for me.
Did somebody say that that's in the legislature?
I mean, they didn't exactly say it, but I mean, state Senate Republicans are not doing that right
No,
now.
they're look, the governor introduced the budget that was balanced, and the House has passed a budget, and the Senate literally cannot. And it's
Mhm.
because, by the way, this is, I'll open my eyes because
Yeah,
this is actually a real problem. You have enough Republicans who would because I think all 23 Democrats have said they would support it.
they would.
And
They
there's
would.
at least
Yes.
5 to 6 Senate Republicans that have, so that gets you to 29 in a
Mhm.
body of, 50. So that's more
Yeah.
than enough. But
Mhm.
the Senate Republican leadership will not even allow it to come up for a
And
vote.
they won't let it come up for vote. It's crazy. And it's been over 100 days.
And
A
I
100
believe this is
days.
all just trying to stick it to the governor for politics.
Yeah, it's crazy. Well, I think what we've proven, and I believe this in the actual show, love is not blind and neither is politics.
That
So
is right. That is right.
there you go. Well, thanks for playing with me. Well, as of September 1st of this year, Democrats outnumber Republicans in Pennsylvania by 174,000 voters, but that's down from 685,000 advantage in 2020 of November.
Right.
So, what plans do you have to not just register more Democratic voters, but to inspire and bring people who might have left the party back over to us?
Yeah, the number one group of growth in party registration is not affiliated or independent.
Hmm.
Republicans are doing slightly better than us, but that's the biggest one. And I think,
Okay.
to be blunt, with younger people, we've got a brand problem because they don't think we're fighting for anything, fair or not. And I know you and I could maybe quibble with that argument, but they don't believe we're out there fighting enough. So a lot of them are just saying, screw both parties, register
Mhm.
unaffiliated. Now, you and I know why that's a problem in Pennsylvania. We have
Right.
closed primaries. That's so that is a structural reason why they shouldn't do that. But the
Mhm.
reality is they are doing that. And a lot of people who probably identify as more left than right on a lot of issues are feeling Democrats aren't out there fighting. So I think the number way to change this beyond just registering more voters, like
Mhm.
is we've actually got to improve the image of our party.
Mhm.
I think the other stuff will follow if we're doing that.
I agree. I think and I know that Democrats are fighting for Pennsylvanians. I
Right.
really know that. I see it every day. Unfortunately, I just feel like we don't have the media
Right.
presence
That's right.
that we don't. The Democrats do not have a CNN. They don't have a Fox News equivalent.
Right.
A lot of Democrats who are prevalent on social media try to get the messaging out there, but that's a large reason why I started this podcast because I did not realize how many young people tuned into Joe Rogan and believed everything he was saying.
Yeah,
And it really did a disservice to the party.
because of my fitness side of my, life, I knew
Mhm.
that stuff existed. I didn't know quite to the extent, but I knew it
I didn't.
existed. And to me, even just, and I know there's conflicting stories on it, but when one side is doing the talking and the other side isn't, and for the podcast world, for that sort of libertarian leaning, younger dude type of guy,
Yeah.
we didn't talk to them at all. Now the public is expecting authenticity. They want to see you on these shows. They want to see you mix it up, even if that means you say something stupid once or twice. Now,
Yeah.
you could, just like anything else, you can go overboard with that because I
Yeah.
know people give you props just for having the guts to go on them.
100%. Yeah. I look forward to helping Pennsylvania. That's what I'm focusing
Right.
on, getting out positive Democratic messaging because I see it. I
Yeah.
know where to look. I see Democrats fighting for
Yep.
the people in the Commonwealth, and I want to project the truth. I
That's
don't
right.
want to lie about it. I want to project
And by the
the
way,
truth.
you see, you're good. Look, if you saw me on the evening news, again, I do that stuff. It's important, but you see me for 7 seconds, and I'm not
Mhm.
knocking them. They for what they do. I think you get to know someone much better in this type of a format because you can't
Yeah.
hide.
Right. Exactly. The consistency is what I'm looking for, positive Democratic messaging. And it's
Right.
not difficult because Democrats are positive.
That's right.
I tried looking this up, but do the chairs of the Democratic Party in other states ever get together for conventions or have like quarterly meetings?
We do have quarterly meetings. I have not been to one yet, but we do have
Okay.
one. There's going to
Okay.
there was one in Minnesota right before I was elected.
Okay.
I think it was in Minneapolis or St. Paul.
Okay.
And then we're going to be in LA in December.
That's great. I'm just really happy that you all, collaborate and stick together because I'm sure you can bounce ideas off of
Oh,
each other.
absolutely. I look forward, particularly, I mean, I'm sure I'll be happy to meet them all, but I particularly want to meet the chairs of Wisconsin, Georgia, Michigan, North Carolina, although I've met the chair from North Carolina, and some of the other swing states just to get some ideas from them.
That's great. Well, maybe you can play this game with them because we're going to play musical chairs.
Okay, let's do it.
So I'm going to tell you the name of a chair and you're going to guess the state that they are in. I only have 3 and there's a reason for that because if you don't guess the state that they're in, I'm going to sing you a short piece of that state's anthem. Okay.
All right.
So you're actually going to be saving yourself from hearing me sing and the viewers and listeners. Okay.
So this is a public service
Yes.
issue.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Here's the first one. Betsy Marin.
I think that's Wisconsin.
It is not. Okay, here. So there's kind of like a southern twangy rhythm to this, okay? Where the cattle crop the clover and its breath is in the air while the sun is shining over our beloved Delaware.
Okay. Now I will tell you, I almost confused you for Taylor Swift right there. It was,
oh, really? That was a Taylor Swift?
It was that good.
I'm flattered. And
good.
you're lying your ass off, but thank you very
On
much.
that one, yes.
Okay. All right, here's the second one. Kathleen Clyde.
Is that Ohio?
Oh, thank God. Yes, it's Ohio.
Yeah.
It is Ohio. Okay, good. You saved me. I'm not going to sing it because that was a hard
I did
one.
go to college in Ohio, but I can only imagine what the song is.
It's not a great one. You can look it up later. All right, here's the last one. Mike Pushkin.
Not Nebraska.
It's not Nebraska.
It is not California. I'm going to say Illinois.
All right, this I don't mind singing this one, okay? Country roads take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home. There you go, West Virginia.
Country road.
I think that when you meet up, you should play musical chairs together.
Yeah, that's I will let them know, and I will never forget. Pushkin is from West Virginia.
There you go. And honestly, when I was looking up this game, not every state has a state anthem, actually, which I was surprised about. Yeah. So I think Maryland was one of them. I was trying to do like states that abut Pennsylvania, but Maryland didn't have one, so I had to like cut it down. Thankfully for you and me. Eugene, if you don't want to discuss this particular topic, I totally understand and we'll move on. But, for me as a physician and just doing my research about you, and you spoke about this earlier, one of your brothers passed away from muscular dystrophy while you were in law school. First of all, may his memory be a blessing. And my question to you is, how did his presence in your life influence your ideals and passion help others?
So Anthony was 7 years younger than me. So it was myself, then Vincent, then Anthony. And so Vincent was a year younger than me, 13 months. And so we were both pretty athletic, able to do a lot of stuff. And when we started to find out that, he had something wrong and then found out it was muscular dystrophy, it was my first sort of like wake up call that, it's not about working harder, just, pick yourself up by the bootstraps, that type of thing. And, it's a dreaded disease. It gets worse over time to eventually where, you die usually of some type of lung or heart issue because, you can't breathe anymore. Your heart just stops. So he lived, a really good life for having it. And so a lot of them, but he took a prednisone, which, put a lot of pressure on his heart, enabled him to be functioning. So he went to Pitt for 2 years, kept the stats for the men's basketball team and actually passed away, went into cardiac arrest at a Pitt Duquesne women's game, December 4th of 1998. We never had health insurance because of that, because at that time, insurance companies could deny you for pre-existing conditions. But I also said when I would tell someone my brother had muscular dystrophy, then they would meet him, they would say, if he wasn't in the wheelchair, you wouldn't know because he just had that type of personality. But it does teach you the lesson and it gets pounded in you every day. There are some people that just cannot do things for themselves and someone has to help.
Yeah. And I can't believe, it's crazy. I think it's just crazy that there was a time not too long ago that insurance companies could just deny you care.
It's insane. But the other, so I want to say, so that's sort of like, and where we're trying to go, not say you and me, but where the Trump administration wants to take us on, because Obamacare fixed that. People say what they want. It fixed that.
It did.
And that was President Obama and the Democrats in the United States Congress doing something that everyone said they agreed with, but they were the ones that got it done. So that really mattered.
You're right. People take that stuff for granted. And you're also correct. The Trump administration and Republican politicians want to take that away. They basically want to go back to where insurance companies can just throw people off their insurance if they want to. And we can't allow that to happen.
One thing I want to say is that if you have not done it, and I'm not saying that people should be relegated to this, But if you want to know the challenges sometimes people with physical disabilities have, sit your fanny in a wheelchair and try to roll around on a city sidewalk. It
Yeah.
is, then you come to grips with the challenges that are out there every single
Yeah.
day.
Yeah. Every able-bodied person is just one accident away from becoming disabled,
That's right.
minus genetics.
That's right.
And the types of safety nets that we have for the disabled community is there for everyone,
That's
no
right.
matter what happens.
That's
And
right.
so we can't ever take that for granted.
That's exactly right.
All right, we're going to lighten it up a little bit. And thank you again very much for that story. I understand that you are a big Star Wars fan, correct?
That is accurate. Yes.
And are you a classic Star Wars enthusiast, or do you like all the modern day spin-offs as
So
well?
Andor, full stop, one of the best shows of all time. Andor.
Yes.
Now I'm a fan of Battlestar Galactica, fan of Game of
Okay.
Thrones. Breaking Bad was ridiculously
yeah.
good, but
Oh, yeah.
Andor was the best of the sort of post era. So
Yeah.
I don't get into all of them because there's too much out there, and
Yeah.
it's sometimes you just got to go to bed and you can't. But I was 6 years old when the first one came out and literally lost my mind that day, and it has been a passion ever since.
I would agree. I loved Andor. That show had me in a chokehold.
Yeah.
I mean, there were so many parallels between what we're fighting today, fighting the Empire and the rebels, and how long it takes to make change, and the people you lose along the way.
See,
It was so good.
that's what Andor does is like sort of it. So we were kids when Star Wars comes out. I don't know how
Mhm.
old you are, but
Yeah.
for me, I was literally 5 going on 6 when the first one comes out.
Yeah.
But the thing that and again, it was awesome. It was great. We're still talking about it to this day. But the original Star Wars, there's no real suffering, right? You don't really know what
Right.
started the war.
Right.
There's Leia, there's Chewie, Han, Luke. I was a Luke guy. But
Mhm.
one thing Andor does is it really says this war didn't come from nowhere. The Empire did all these horrible things, and enough people in the galaxy had just had enough. When I tell people is Andor is tangentially a Star Wars story. Every now and then you see a TIE fighter. Every now and then you see a stormtrooper. But like Luke and Palpatine aren't really part of the story. I don't even think there's a single scene with a Jedi in the whole
No.
thing. But it is a show about when do people have had enough.
Right. And how long it takes for good
That's right.
people to not give up.
That's
It
right. That's
takes
right.
good people everywhere to keep moving forward, even if you might not live to see the
That's
day
right.
where people have a better life. So good. We don't want to have too many spoilers.
No, yeah, that's right. Just in case.
Yeah.
But you should watch. People out there, even if you don't agree with our politics, watch Andor.
We're going to play a game called The Force. So we're going to pretend like you have the Force. You have the power of the Force. And would you use it in these scenarios? Okay.
There's a lot.
So we're going to go backwards a little bit. Okay. Putting your kids back in their rooms when they refuse to go to sleep. Would you use the Force?
But to use the Force, no, I think you got to have enough parenting skills to allow that one to happen without necessarily using the Force.
Oh my gosh. I have 3 kids. I would totally have used the Force not to hurt them. I've just been levitating them up,
to levitate them
back
up,
into their room,
Yeah.
closing the door. I totally would have done it.
What I would do is if they tried to leave after they were put in bed, then I would be like, I just do this to the front.
Yeah. You would use the
Force to close the door.
Understood. All right. What about shifting cars on the street to help make room for you to park?
Oh, 100%.
Right? There's this little spot. If it was just 2 feet over a little bit.
And you're not harming the car. You're just levitating it up another 2 feet.
Exactly. Okay. We're on the same page there. How about influencing a sports game a little bit, like making the ball move ever so slightly, fair, foul, or, get into that?
I wouldn't. No, I want them to play it straight. As someone that was out there, I think you've got to let your work ethic, talent, and whatever luck of the sport. That's the fun part of sports is that that we don't use the Force to alter the outcome.
It's the uncertainty.
I may switch where I'm sitting to alter the outcome.
Okay.
Because you're allowed to do that, but I wouldn't use the Force.
Okay, understood. All right, here's the last one. This may be the most important one. Changing a duvet cover.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's one of the worst torching experiences I think I've ever had.
No. I think you almost have to.
Yeah, you got to use the Force for duvet covers.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Glad we're on the same page on that one. Eugene, what would you say to someone, and I imagine you have to do this a lot now, who isn't as engaged politically as we are, to get out and vote this November 4th?
I tell people your freedoms as you know them are actually on the line. The
Mhm.
Supreme Court has held up reproductive freedom. They've held up fair education funding. They've held up environmental protections and voting rights. If you
Yeah.
think those matter, you got to get out and you got to vote yes.
Yeah. And for those who may not realize, we have three state Supreme Court justices that we have to vote yes to retain Justices Donahue, Doherty, and
Mhm.
Wecht.
Yeah.
And we have to make sure we turn our ballots over if you have a mail in ballot, because we must retain them. As you said, we have rights that we cannot afford to lose.
That's exactly right. And this is not a drill. This is for real.
No. Yeah. This is a
Let people know
large.
sort of a little process because we do have the time with this. And that is
Sure.
if they all are rejected, meaning vote no, the court is then tied 2-2.
Yeah.
And they say the governor could nominate replacements, but the Senate's controlled by Republicans. So the court would then be at a standstill
Right.
for 2
2
years.
years. For 2 years. Right.
Right.
And the Commonwealth Court, which is right below the
Right.
state Supreme Court, would essentially be deciding all of the cases.
That's right.
And the Commonwealth Court has a conservative majority.
That's right.
So they actually agreed with a lot of the cases that the Trump administration tried to push through back
right.
during the 2020 election.
That's right.
And the only reason why Trump could not overturn the election in Pennsylvania was because of our state Supreme Court
That's exactly
majority.
right. That's exactly right.
So, as you said, everything's on the line this November 4th.
That's exactly right.
Well, from 2007 to 2013, you served as a state rep for York County. And when you weren't passing the largest alternative energy legislation in state history or winning large increases in public school investments, you actually became the first legislator to post your expenses online.
Yes.
and you actually proved you were among the lowest spenders.
Yes.
You actually purchased your office furniture at a yard sale.
Yes, that's right. I actually had a table in my office that you had to put the napkins under to stop it from wobbling.
Oh my gosh. Well, I already know that Democrats are the fiscally conservative party, but it's nice to see we're walking the walk as a public servant.
There was a couple other reps that we would battle to see who were the lowest spenders, but I was always in the mix. I won that title a couple times.
That's amazing. Well, you did great things for Pennsylvania. Do you remember those times fondly?
Yes, I do. Sometimes when we went over the deadline on the budget by a day or two, that was frustrating. Never what we're dealing with now, but yeah, no, the camaraderie. But I loved every second of being Auditor General. But the one thing I missed was the camaraderie of the House, which I think they don't have anymore, which is kind of sad.
Yeah. Well, I think it's great that we have someone like you who's leading the party now in Pennsylvania that has that connection, that draw. You understand the inner workings of the Pennsylvania legislature. And so I think that's going to bring a lot to the table in explaining things to people and how things work, because voters need to be educated these days. Basic civics. How do laws get made? How do we vote on things? How do they get to the governor's office? And if there's a stalemate or they're not getting things passed, you can explain why that happens.
That's right. No, it's a part of what I bring to the table.
Yeah. You're the full package, Eugene. So you are big into triathlons, which I find admirable because I don't think I'd be able to do any of them. But I also heard you recently broke your clavicle. Is that true?
Yes. So I'll show you here. Don't worry, I'm not going to take it all off, but I have a bone stimulator.
Oh my gosh.
Right there that is still working to heal it. So, but I am back in the gym. I'm going full go. I did 4 miles today in about 30 minutes. And so I'm back biking. Haven't been in the pool yet.
Okay.
But that's coming. The doctor wanted me to wait a little longer, so I'm waiting a little longer. And because I could not do a lot of shoulder presses and pull-ups, my legs are getting really, really strong now because every workout's about my legs right now.
You're something else. You're wonderfully intense, Eugene, as always. I mean, you shouldn't feel too badly because the clavicle is actually the most commonly broken bone in the body.
Yeah.
I don't know if you knew that.
I did not know that until after it happened. And
yes, I'm sure the decision was like,
because and then
that's like
particularly for bike accidents too.
Yes, yeah. Every medical student learns that fact. You never forget it. After you served as a state rep, you served as PA's Auditor General. And I might add that you became the first person from York County to assume statewide elected office since George Leader was elected governor in 1954.
It started a trend, though.
What was the trend?
Governor Wolf came after me, and then Senator Fetterman came after him.
Oh, yeah. Well, there you go. You're a trailblazer.
That's right.
And not just because you do triathlons. That's amazing. I did not know that.
Yeah.
Well, what was your proudest accomplishment while Auditor General?
So there was two that really are 1 and 1A, and that was finding the over 3,000 untested rape kits and bringing justice to victims. and finding the 58,000 unanswered phone calls to the child abuse hotline, which led to us doing the State of the Child report that led to better child safety protections all over the state.
I mean, such amazing initiatives that you did. You helped people in the Commonwealth from abuse, and you saved over $1 billion in recoverable state money. It just goes to show how important this office is, and that when we vote for people, you're going to have auditors who actually try and go out and help people, and others who take a more sitting back position and let illegal things happen unchecked.
I viewed that job, which again I loved every second of it, was
Mhm.
look, I may vote for you and I may really like you, but 9 to 5, I'm not your buddy.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you held polluters accountable. You investigated improper gifts
That's
given
right.
to county officials for voting machine vendors.
That's right.
You did a lot of amazing things as Auditor General. And correct me if I'm wrong, you can only serve so many terms as Auditor
You're
General.
a 2-term maximum,
It's
which,
2-term maximum.
if I would have been allowed to run for a 3rd term, I might have, but at some point, executive offices in particular, I'm not convinced all the time on the legislature, because I don't want lobbyists and staff to run the place. But I do think in the executive, I think Virginia's ridiculous with only 1 term, but I do think some type of term limit on executives, because you can accumulate too much power over the long haul.
That makes sense. Al, I mean, you did an amazing job, and I just wanted to
Thank you.
highlight
Thank
those
you.
achievements and accomplishments.
Thank you.
Eugene, what gives you hope?
I think the energy, like I was in Bedford County tonight. There was 250 people at the Bedford County dinner night. That gives me hope. Joking said I thought almost all the registered voters in the county were there, at least Democrats-wise, but that gives me hope. They're out there, they're fighting. That gives me hope.
You give me hope, Eugene. You really do.
Thank you.
You really do. My last question for you is, what plans do you have to get yourself through these next few years?
Good sleep, good hydration, keep my fitness going. And when I start going a little stir crazy, find a way to just get out in the walk and ignore the world for a while.
I feel like you have a lot of very healthy outlets, Eugene, but please, no more broken clavicles.
I will do my best on that one again.
All right. Well, Eugene DePasquale, the chair of the PA Democratic Party, civic engagement is something that he just does all the time. And you're so good at it. And I really can't wait to see what you're going to do in Pennsylvania. We need strong leaders. And I know you're a leader. And I know you're going to do a lot of great things for us. So what can we do now, as talking to the viewers and listeners, what can we do to help you?
Go to padems.org, get involved in one of these judicial campaigns, perhaps contribute. And for some of you out there, maybe you should run for the legislature. Maybe you're some of the voters out there in some of these red districts that we need that are going to shake it up. If you are upset about what's happened in Washington, or maybe running for president is beyond anyone's wildest imagination, but it starts with getting people elected to Congress, State House, State Senate. And even if that's not your style in 2 years, run for school board, run for local township, bring good policies in a local race. You could be the one that makes sure that the local community has a better parks and rec program for young kids. That really matters. There's so many different things out there that people can do to make their communities better. But go to padems.org and find some of those ways.
100%. I'll definitely promote that. And democracy is not a spectator sport. We all have to do our part and get involved in our local politics to make Pennsylvania a better state to live in.
100%.
Thank you so much for your time, Eugene. And I know we're going to be working together a lot.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate the time. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, thank you so much for joining me here on the Zekely Podcast. Stay hopeful and get involved. And until next time, let's keep building a stronger Pennsylvania together.